Hello and welcome to another video. So we're going to be looking at a Ramp Dragon. We haven't done Ramp Dragon just for probably a week and a half, I think, roughly. It's been a little while. Either way, I wanted to look back into it a bit. People are adding Water of Orca a little bit, which is actually quite a nice card to use in this deck. People are also cutting a few cards, so I thought, why not? It's really just one Prince Cocytus now, and you can get away with running 3 Azi pretty easy. I just don't tend to run it as I don't have 3 and I can't be bothered crafting another one when 2 works just as well for me 99% of the time. It's only rare occasions when I'd really need the 3rd one, but otherwise let's get into this and take a look. So Ramp Dragon is still an extremely good deck. It holds its own very easily in most situations and can do a pretty nice job against a variety of decks, which is always a good thing when you want a deck that should keep itself pretty self-contained. I don't see any big nerfs coming to Dragon, at least in the next month or so, so I would definitely get in and play this if you're going to play anything right now. Mysteria I could see being toned down again, maybe. I could also see other decks getting hit a little bit, maybe even Aggro Forest, even though it did just get a buff. Really just depends on, you know, how February goes and how that all plays out, but we'll have to wait and see on that front. It's just going to depend. It's kind of all over the place right now. It might even be considered balanced for all decks at the moment, as far as it goes. So one of my favorite plays is always this Serpent Drake. Gotta love it. Duplication of followers is always a fun thing. And I like the Craving Splendor play. Drawing that out early is not bad for us. It also means they're not playing a super generic rune deck, so we do have a little bit better chance, I would say, normally. There is Mysteria and Dragon or so maybe it's just a variation of Mysteria. I mean, there is quite a few variations on Mysteria, so I wouldn't be surprised if one of them did run Craving Splendor. Now we just need a nice way to deal with this. I wanted to go straight for that Whitefrost, as you just saw, but Roy kind of felt better. I can go for the Evo, Poseidon next turn, and really screw my opponent over for my 8 play point and 9 play point turns, since we can go instantly from Poseidon to Prince, which is way too valuable to leave. Especially this early in the game, where you want to out-ramp Rune quite heavily so that they can't play the Mysterias and followers on you too bad. And there is a nice little bit of setup. We've got a really good board now. Not going to be an easy thing to counter straight out, which is exactly what we need. Mysterium Missile, that one's a good one. Don't know if I would have targeted that though, and instead of going for the ward. But, I mean, that's what they did. So we're going to have a free turn to go for Prince. We've also got an okay draw engine in the Servant and Disdainful Rending, which is going to be okay if we have to use it. And the Evo there just to make a bigger body and a bigger target. Does mean they just can't leave this Satan on board. And with double ward, it's not going to be a fun time to clear this. But they do an okay job of getting started here. Mysterian Right is actually a really good way to start things off. Wrathful Ice Fiend, that's actually not a bad draw. I needed some more evolve points. Getting them now isn't going to hurt us. And going for the Disdainful Rend is actually a pretty big advantage at this point in the game. So, no real reason to hold back at this point. We just take it full swing, 9 damage to face, and absolutely cripple the Rune player's health total. No shocker that they conceded that match. If it was me, I probably would have conceded too. And for the next game, we're going into a Dragon versus Dragon match. It's definitely interesting. The ladder shifts very, very quickly at the moment, so sometimes I'll see Forest for like 5 games in a row for an hour or so, and then I'll see, you know, stuff like Dragon and Rune pop up again for a little while, and then other decks pop in here and there, which, I mean, it's not a huge surprise, but it does show the game probably is leaning towards balanced at the moment as far as things go, since we do have so many reasonably top tier decks, and even high-end tier 2 decks that compete well with those top tier decks. So it's definitely an interesting one as far as things go. And there is the trade. No big surprise. There, Roy most likely going for a ramp option. We don't really have many plays. I mean, we can ramp next turn, which will be fairly decent, but that's about it. And Serpent was just kind of bait the damage. And here is our ramp. So we're going to keep 1-for-1 them at the moment. Definitely the way to do things. The Dahakas are actually quite powerful, especially if you can get a few of these Omen of Disdains on board. It's always a worry when they start playing Omen of Disdain because those free Evos can quite easily boost Azi Dahaka down to even 5 pretty easily if you can play all 3 of them and of course use the Evo effects. If you're going first, going second you can actually get Eyes as low as 4, which is even more insane. I'd actually love to see a Dahaka play all 3 for like 0 or something. That would be absolutely nuts, but also probably extremely difficult unless you specifically built your deck around doing so. I can see 1 getting played for 0, but maybe definitely not 3, not easily anyway. So we're going to kick this off fairly well. I mean, we're quite a way into the game now, but I mean, we've been playing fairly consistently across this match, just kind of 1-for-1ing them, setting up boards, making it difficult for them to make big plays. Fortunately, they did get the Prince out pretty early, but if that's the only real problem card they've played this whole game, we're doing a fairly good job. So I don't have much else other than going for, of course, the Omen. I probably should have dealt 1 damage to face instead, since the trade-off here isn't great, but it could have been worse. So as far as things go, I'm actually quite happy with it. Since we're going to have a couple of very strong turns with Poseidon, so it's not really a big problem. Dragon Command, interesting. I mean, they don't need the healer yet, so it makes sense they went for that play. Raging Dragon is going to allow us to take both of these out very easily without losing anything. Absolutely amazing combination of cards, honestly. Definitely doesn't feel as overpowered as it used to, but it's still a very powerful combination of cards. Ooh, here we go. Omen of Disdain, this is where things get more interesting. If they hit this ward, we could be in trouble. Nope. Hit the 5-3. Really bad for them. Really good for us. So now with a really nice Evo, we can actually set up for lethal next turn. And still clear out the 5-3 without really any repercussion. Since it does die to the Bane immediately. So 16 damage that turn. Absolutely soul crushing to come up against that, I am sure. Even if they had wiped the board, we would have been pretty fine as long as they didn't ward up. And there's really no way to come back from this. This is definitely going to be the end of the match for our opponent here. We actually have 18 damage just here without any kind of extra, so that's always nice. Especially when your opponent is only on 4 health. So Dragon's still proving to be an extremely powerful deck while also being reasonably expensive. I mean, there's 12 legendaries in this variant alone, which is pretty nuts. When you're making up over a quarter of your deck in legendary cards, then you know it's quite an expensive deck. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more content. You will find this deck list in the description below. Until next time, see ya.